Hey everybody, Kemetia Foley here, and it is May, so has the weather finally started to get warm where you are? We've had a lot of rain here over stateside, but it is a beautiful day, and it is Thursday, and we are going to talk about creating a career portfolio using Pinterest. Thanks for inviting me to be part of AdminChat today, Executive Secretary staff, and Lucy and Matt and all that crew. I'm really happy and super psyched to be here today talking about two of my favorite things. Creating a career portfolio. What does that really mean? Well, a portfolio is a showcase. And traditionally, a career portfolio has been a binder of examples and documents that showcase the highlights of your career, things you've created, the accomplishments that you've achieved. Pinterest is a visual tool image board, gathering board, and it allows you to organize your images based on interests. So, hence Pinterest, right? So today we're going to talk about where do those two intersect, how can we use this fun tool to really create a career portfolio, something that will showcase our accomplishments, achievements, and career path. So let's talk about that traditional portfolio. What goes into a traditional portfolio? Well, you want it to showcase skills. And skills could be things like your Microsoft Office Specialist certification. It could be graphic design samples. It could be anything that kind of showcases a highlight of what you have accomplished in your career. So if you've managed to do an amazing amount of travel using a particular software, this would be a place where you could document that. Experience. So experience comes in your career, organizations that you have worked for, that you have volunteered for, any organization that you have contributed your administrative skill set towards their success. Samples of cost savings. Now, this really is super important because, after all, don't all companies want to see where people are efficient and save their organization money? And I think that's absolutely true at any cost. But how are you going to showcase that in a portfolio? So some folks may provide examples of a process in which they've negotiated cost savings for their organization, or where they have located an opportunity for their company to discontinue a software product that they don't need any longer. Any kind of ideas where they have either provided cost savings or saved the organization money, or even found money that the organization did not, or recovered something that was not being utilized. And most importantly is this fourth one, samples of your work. Now, being able to showcase samples of work takes some creativity on its own, because you don't want to give away any company information, but you do want to be able to show a wide range of samples, things that are highlights that you have contributed to. So for example, if you have organized a board retreat and you would want to have some samples of the agenda or the location where you scheduled the retreat, all the arrangements that you made to go in, or samples of your correspondence, or samples of emails where you negotiated, again, that cost savings. Samples of work could also include spreadsheets, as long as they don't have any proprietary information, charts or graphs. It could include reports, as long again as you are able to redact any company sensitive information, or if you can dummy a similar version for yourself. One of the things I tell people when they say, I don't have a career portfolio because I don't have any samples of financial acumen or budget work. Guess what? You do have that. If you have ever planned a family vacation, and you can document that in a spreadsheet as a budget, that is a sample of your work. You don't have to put on that sample of work that it is for a family vacation. You can rename it and adjust it as you wish. But again, it's going to showcase your ability to do that work. That's a traditional portfolio. And it's usually set up in a binder with dividers. And it maybe doesn't have it in this order. Everybody lays out their portfolio the way they wish to. So my old traditional portfolio had at the very front of it my resume. Behind it, it had information on the courses I had taken, any coursework I had taken in the last 5 years, just labeled out by the university or college that I attended, or if it was online and it was a 4-credit course. And then anything to do with my certification. And then I had samples of recognition, work that I had done, cost savings, and then finally just a little small one-sheeter about my personal interest and passion for professional development. So it was really just, it wasn't a big binder, but it just kind of summarized that. And that's pretty traditional. That is a traditional portfolio. So we're approaching this today from the point of view that you are familiar with Pinterest, which is this online platform for gathering images and organizing them according to the subject that you wish them to be considered for. And this is an image gathering board traditionally used, I would say traditionally, but most commonly you hear people talk about Pinterest being used for picking out images of wedding gowns or cakes, or maybe for baby showers, or I've seen it used for ice-breaking ideas for team building, all kinds of things. And I would say most people that I know who have Pinterest accounts use it for personal. Very rarely see it used for professional. They may have a board in that that is for professional reasons, but not usually an entire account dedicated to it. So what I suggested, and I just kind of mocked one up here as a fake career portfolio account. You can see on this that you can see you have boards, your pins, and the topics, and I've sorted it A to Z, and so I created a separate work career account to kind of keep it separate from my personal. And one of the benefits of this is that you could, kind of work with it and mess with it while you're figuring that all out. And again, Pinterest, you're pulling images that are related to the subject area that you're interested in. So what I've done here is create boards that I think would be relevant for a career portfolio. Companies where I've worked, membership in professional associations. You can't see the entire screen, but there's certifications in there, and there are professional organizations, in any professional development courses that I have taken. So those breakout segments create those boards in Pinterest. And so when you open one of these boards, and we'll go to that in a minute, you can see how I have that listed, all the organizations that I worked for, all the organizations I hold a professional membership in. You can open up and see the images for those. And then when you pin an image, of course, you're going to put the URL in there. So again, we're creating a showcase of images that directly relate to the work and experience that we have in our career field. Now, when you go into create a board, you also have the option of segmenting it by section. So for example, if I wanted to go into the companies where I've worked board, I could section it off based on the industry that that company was in, healthcare or academics or events industry, defense contractor, whichever. And then you could pull that image and you could either use, well, we'll talk about image gathering in just a second. So you want to make sure that you have the categories of the boards in the way that you want them as you get started. It's very easy to start, delete, remove. It's a very simple program platform to use. This is an example of what one particular board would look like. So in this case, we have the board that would represent membership in professional associations. And I pulled images from those groups that I am active and I belong to, or have some sort of affiliation with related to my professional career. In this case, you see that I selected my CAP certification logo image here at the top of this on the right side. And within that, if I were to open that, I could showcase the CAP page. I could put the CAP page URL, and I could put a little information about what that exam is in the description. Below that is what it would look like when you create a pin and you put the URL in, and you see that it has a save option there. So that means anybody looking for an ASAE logo may, in the mixing bowl of things that get algorithms that come around, my image may show up in their options when they search for that. My board may. So they could pin it from my board, and then that's how those things get connected. Having a description of the organization and the URL in each one of these particular pins. I could create a separate section within my membership in professional associations if I wanted to. Create one for personal organizations, something like a little more like volunteer organizations, and I could put in my membership as a member of the University of Mary Washington alumni. I go to their College of Business, and I do their chats for their students who are getting ready to, what they call career chat. They're getting ready to go graduate from school, and they bring in alumni to come in and talk to them about what it's really like out there in the work world. So I could create I could pull up an image of the College of Business at Mary Washington or a Mary Washington College logo, and then put the description and then the URL for that particular event. And then any other volunteer, if I were to be a volunteer for American Red Cross or No Child Hungry, No Kid Hungry, I could put all of those in there under volunteer. It's still important. Or you could have a whole separate board for volunteer if that is something that is good for you. So how would this process work? The process would be that you would create your Pinterest account or a separate account. So if you're going to use Pinterest for everything, that's great. Or you could create a separate account just for your career portfolio. That is my recommendation. If you really want to try this out, go ahead, set up a separate account with a dummy email or whatever email you use for, sales and coupons, and then begin to set up your categories, which would be your boards. People say, I don't really get Pinterest. As an administrative professional, the best way I could describe Pinterest to you is to look at those boards as folders, and then look at the pins as documents. So you're going to organize your folders by category, and your documents that relate to that category are going to go into that folder. Same idea. You can create your categories, so work experience, certifications, education, whichever you prefer, and then you can start gathering the images that you wish to add to those boards. You could do it one of two ways. You can go to the search tool bar, that's the search bar with the magnifying glass icon in Pinterest, and type in an image. Or what I like to recommend to people, if they're really just going to use this for portfolio purposes, and you really want the best image, the cleanest image, the image that will automatically resonate with people, say, oh, I totally know what that is. Create a folder for yourself on, or keep someplace in your accounts where you have organized images related to this process, this project, and keep them all in one place, because then you can add to that folder as you need. And if for any reason you needed to go back to that image, you could always access it again rather than try to go back out and search for it. You may want to do that beforehand, before you start any process. It's totally up to you, but I would suggest creating your categories first, and then that will help you think of the images that you want to pull to attach to that board. When you go into that board and you go to pin that image in Pinterest, if you're not familiar with it, it will ask you for a short description and the URL for that image. So for example, if I wanted to put IAAP up there, I could put in that logo that I have down there for CAP, or I could go back and find the real logo for IAAP, and the URL would be iaap-hq.org. And then when somebody clicked on that, they would have the option of going to the website for IAAP and learning more about that organization that I belong to or participate in. So, and I could have a description in there, which on my page says, I have been a member of the International Association of Administrative Professionals, a professional organization representing the career office professional, since 2001. And therefore it has a description, it has a website, and then it has an image all in one place. When you're using photos or images, if you're not sure, it's always good, get permission or give people a heads up either way. So you just want to make sure you let people know that you are working, that you are doing this. By the way, can I use this image? Or by the way, and make sure you get it, in documentation. Don't just do it by phone. Make sure you have some sort of documentation. Keep it in the same folder as your images. If you just need to save your email as a PDF or something, you can do it that way. Of course, any image that requires creative license, you need to make sure you honor that as well. Update it frequently. You want to keep this up to date, just like your resume, as you would your LinkedIn profile. You want to make sure that it is current. Copy your Pinterest account URL to your LinkedIn page, and then you can also add it to your hard copy resume. So when you've created this Pinterest board, you can obviously save the URL from that board that is your career portfolio creation, and you can include it on your LinkedIn profile. In my particular case, I have created on my personal Pinterest account, I have a board, which is what I call my speaking gig board, and it has images from every program or promotion or advertisement related to an event that I have spoken at over the last several years. And so when people want to know, how many speaking engagements have you done? It's not just me saying, oh, I've done about a dozen. I now have visual proof that I've been invited to speak at this many events over this much time, and people can see that. But because my work LinkedIn account is really about the work that I do and get paid for every day and contributes to my family's well-being, I don't want to highlight the things that I don't want to distract from that by focusing on the things that I do outside of my daily job. But I don't want people to miss out on the fact that I love doing public speaking. So I haven't created that in my LinkedIn account, and I'm going to show you an example of that right now. And here's an opportunity to share your Pinterest URL within your LinkedIn profile. This is my LinkedIn profile, our current version of it, and it showcases the same things it does on most people's accounts: their education, their current employer, previous employers. This is just a snapshot of the top part of my page, and you'll see that I have my highlights there, and then at the middle there you see a highlighted section that has my Pinterest URL for my speaking teaching gig announcements. And what that allows me to do is to say to people who are looking at because it's not my full-time profession. My full-time profession is coordinator of research at the American Staffing Association. But I want to highlight the fact that I do speaking and training all over the world. And so I put this link, and out on the Pinterest board, when you go there, you see images that I've pulled from promotions for each of those events, and may or may not have a copy of the agenda, and I have the URL for the event and a little description about what that event was for. This is for this was a 50-person day-long seminar, or this was 200 people, executive assistants working for C-suite in London in 2016, or whatever it is that I need to go out and put out there. What happens is that provides then a proof, image proof, that I really do get hired for these things, and it's not just some writing I've put on my account. I've done speaking for these organizations. That doesn't give folks a sense of the actual event. However, the image will spark that turnaround, so they can see, wow, they were promoted for this. This is a promotion for them being here and speaking to this organization. This is pretty cool, but I don't want it to take away from my full-time employer. And so that allows me to do that. And of course, URLs can be cut and pasted into PowerPoints or Facebook pages or wherever you want to share that URL. People, you can pass it on if you want to put it on your personal card, if you have a personal business card that you give out that's outside of work for people to reach you, or you want to put it on your blog, your personal blog. People can visit from there. So there's all kinds of ways to utilize those images in that board to highlight that achievement, that particular achievement, accomplishment that I'm proud of, but is not part of my full-time daily work. The example here are two boards. They are representing, on the left side, skills, and on the right side, saving the company money, which, right, we want to showcase those things. And I have it organized on the left-hand side. You can see the software or applications that I currently or have used in the past. Let me be real honest up front. I do not have a Microsoft Office specialist, but I put that badge in there because I think it's important. You see what kind of things, what kind of images you would want to put in under your skill. So if you hold that specialist, whether it's master or specialist, you want to put the logo in, the image of that logo in, and then put the URL to that site, and then a description. I for example, you would say, I achieved my Microsoft Office Specialist certification in 2015 in blah, blah, blah. And so you could put that in the description. On the right-hand side, I actually took the board and I made sections. And the two sections are vendor knowledge and created video. These are two areas where I save the company money. Knowing vendors, building a relationship with them, knowing how they work, what kind of negotiations I can work with these vendors for. And on the right side, created video, because I created video for two of our products in-house at no cost to our organization. So I have thumbnails of those there, and I could put the URL in the description in that pin. When people open that pin, they can then learn about what is this video that she has created and where is it. I want to go look at it. I want to go check it out. We've covered a great deal today in a very short amount of time, and I do apologize for not having a more interactive admin chat today. Matthew and I really wanted it to be a more screen-driven event for you, but I've had some internet issues along with the weather here, so I do apologize. It had to be kind of screenshotted, but nonetheless, is that a real word? I've heard somebody say, no, that's not a real word, Kemetia. Sorry. Let's connect. You know how to find me. Here's my information. There's my real Pinterest board. You can also join me in September at Executive Secretary Live in South Africa, which would be amazing to see you there. And you can go to executivesecretary.com for their events page. They are constantly just creating amazing conferences, and I am honored to be one of their speakers. Thanks everybody for your time today. I hope that you learned a new trick or something new from this point of view, a creative way to create an image-driven career portfolio using Pinterest. Have a great week, everybody.